when I surrendered and gave myself grace to like, I can't figure it out. And I don't even want to figure it out. Just really feeling into that. And then you get to open up and just start to say, what's possible?
Well, welcome, Shayna. I am so happy you are here and I'm so excited to talk with you. You are just one incredible woman, and I have had the blessing to not only be a part of your journey, but to see your journey unfolding, and it has been absolutely incredible. So, welcome. I want to introduce the audience to the amazingness that is Shayna Hartman. She is one incredible, amazing body mind coach, and she has been practicing her reflective, body aware skills for over 20 years. She has a background in massage, but she integrates that so seamlessly with reflecting and with body awareness and with the body mind coaching to really help fierce, incredible women embody their truth, embody who they are meant to be, and to step into living from a whole place. She loves and is passionate about helping women go from that place where they feel like they have to accomplish all the to dos and kind of muscling through and shouldering through, as she has said, into a more centered, aligned place that allows you to actually step into and trust yourself. So I'm really excited to talk to you about all of that and about how can we help more women trust themselves. So welcome. Thank you for being here.
Yay. Thank you, Cody. I love and adore you. And I'm super excited to be here.
I'm so excited. You have no idea. I really am. So tell me a little bit about your journey up until this point. Like, what has gotten you to the place where, you feel like you trust yourself a little bit more and you're helping women do the same?
Yeah. My background growing up, like, come from just a really high achieving, almost perfectionism, people pleasing sort of background, oldest in my family. For the most part, only child, but definitely oldest. I have much younger siblings. And so just really being encouraged to be a leader in that classroom setting as a student, all the way I was a student athlete in college at the college level. And you just learn some things about how to push. And
Mm,
that can be really powerful and has been. I have a lot of education under my belt. I have a master's, PhD, and I love all of that. And that has cultivated my ability to be able to connect with people kind of from that teacher perspective that I have
yeah.
grown over the years. And there has come a point kind of in life several years ago, which led me to seek out massage and then body mind coaching, where the grind and the hustle and the muscling your way through just, it wasn't working anymore. I
For
couldn't
sure.
think my way through everything. I couldn't just hunker down and push through. And really, I had a moment of, I call it, with my youngest, like really postpartum depression. And
Hmm.
that was like 6 or so years ago. And it was that point where I was like, okay, something has to shift. And that's actually when I was introduced to, hey, why don't you become a massage therapist? Which sounded insane as a mother, a wife, a full-time, professor, all that stuff. But I'm so glad I said that yes, because it started to help me tune into my body more and just realize the powerful healing that our body can do.
Yeah.
And then that eventually led me to kind of combine my teaching abilities along with the embodiment practice like massage and become a body mind coach. And so now it's like just this amazing explosion of just really feeling my way forward and being
Yeah.
in tune and stepping forward and taking action from that place which has nothing to do with hustle, nothing to do with grind, nothing to do with, just hunkering down and putting your shoulder into it. And the results are amazing. And so I am just excited to be able to share with as many women as possible, those high achievers out there who are doing all the things, but are starting to realize as well, like something's not quite
Maybe,
clicking with this
maybe this
anymore.
isn't going to work.
Yeah.
What I really love and hear in what you were saying is, it's almost like you spent an early part of your life in that perfectionist mindset, kind of cultivating, almost like inducted into leadership and pushing and those kinds of things, which I think so many women can relate to
Mhm.
in so many ways. But I also hear that it's like there's that balance component that we often struggle with of, but what does it mean to be in our bodies, and what does it mean to trust and hear our truth and lead from that place, right?
Yes.
So it sounds like you kind of had that journey, kind of like coming back into the body, I guess, in a way.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's been a process when you take on leadership roles early in life, and then that kind of carries through your life. You often get affirmed from the outside in
Hmm.
and receive that sense of, okay, I'm doing the right thing because someone else is telling me I am, or I'm getting
Yes.
praise, or my family is doing well, or my business is doing well, or I'm climbing up the ladder, whatever it may be.
Hmm.
I lead an amazing home life, like I'm all organized, whatever it is. Usually is affirmed from the outside in, and it's actually when you start to lose a sense of, well, what do I want and what do I want
Yeah.
role for myself. I enjoy being a leader. I always have. It's just how I navigate that leadership role now has shifted.
Hmm.
And when I do it from a place of my heart and my gut and my instinct, just like that soulful place, it's just a completely different experience and a much more fulfilling experience. And oh, by the way, everyone else gets to, come along with me. So that's been another interesting thing I think that women, might struggle with a little bit is like, well, if I'm not getting that external and I turn to myself, am I gonna, leave somebody behind or not
Yes. Am
include
I
some?
like closing off?
Yes,
That's what
yes.
I almost hear.
Actually, the complete opposite.
So can you talk a little bit about I love kind of what you said where it was like you coming into the body, is this what I really want? Rather than that validation from everyone else. How did that transition happen? Because I think for a lot of people, number one, that's a scary transition to go from valuing what other people say and think and believe over what we think and believe about ourselves. But then also when we're in it, how we can get stuck in the gremlins, the fears, the thoughts, the habits. So how have you in your journey kind of navigated from a place of external validation or external listening into internal listening?
I think the biggest thing is just bringing awareness first and foremost. And for me, I do that through reflection and being connected to other people who are doing a similar journey, that are maybe not your significant other, your spouse, your partner, your best friend, even, even your coworkers. Like finding the space where you do get to just have space, just be held in space to go, this isn't working, I wonder what else is possible. And just starting to bring awareness. So for me, as massage therapists, people come in and they are hurting, right?
Hmm.
And or you yourself, you just may feel like, man, my shoulders are really tight today. So bringing awareness to that, years ago I would have said, oh, I must have slept wrong, or done something to myself, injured myself in some way, but now I realize that's a signal, a communication to my body that I need to tune in. So making those little syncs of like, I'm feeling this way, whether it's a physical sensation, an emotional sensation or not,
Yeah.
wonder what that message is trying to tell me. And just that moment of like just tuning in is the kickstart because of awareness, and then ultimately leading to a choice, and then ultimately leading to change,
Yeah.
because you're bringing this kind of for yourself reflection. And so when you're feeling whatever those sensations are and really tuning in with your body, you start to realize, wow, my schedule's not actually working for me. I don't want to be working from 7 in the morning to 10 o'clock at night. Okay,
Hmm,
that doesn't feel good. Or whatever it may be. But just, you can't make any change, any lasting change, I should say, if you don't bring awareness and start to tune in, and then start to ask those important questions of like, well, what do I want? If I don't want this, then what do I want? And that's when we open up to choice. And that's when you're really starting to cultivate, because I think women, like, we lose sight of even thinking about what we want, from like, what kind of, what am I going to order?
yeah. What
Dinner.
do I want to eat?
Where do I want to go? Right? Like, how many, we just say, oh, wherever's fine, which is lovely. And it also may be shutting down that voice, that signal, that communication for yourself, that inner wisdom and truth that you have.
Yeah.
And then it just grows, can grow from there. Like, if you're not able to kind of, that's a small, like, sort of funny indicator, like, you can
Right.
decide where
Yes.
you want to eat. Then what else might be
Yeah.
places?
Yeah. If you can't decide in this small area, what are the other areas that are bigger that you're not participating in making a choice in at all?
Yes, the participation, becoming that's a great word, a participant of your life, not a victim of your circumstance.
Yes. And what I really loved actually kind of in the beginning of what you said was what else is possible?
Yeah.
And I think that's like a key component to awareness. We often talk about awareness, but it's almost like we don't we've heard it before, right? Ask better questions, you'll get better answers. But sometimes you have to ask that one question that's not keeping you stuck in the story, but opening you up to possibility of like, well, what else could be possible? If my shoulders aren't necessarily my shoulder pain isn't necessarily based on just my sleeping, right, or my pillow or my bed, but really it's something else could be possible, something else could be a contributing factor. That's a powerful question to get you to open up to possibility and really start to take the next level of ownership and really listening to yourself. And I hear that listening to yourself and that awareness is the first part of really trusting yourself.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I love that. What else is possible, or what else might this be communicating to me, or what is the opportunity here?
Yes.
Are all kind of those building that awareness for yourself, in order
Yeah.
to start to tune in, start to listen, and start to genuinely hear what shows up, what pops up.
What I also heard in what you said, which I love too, was holding space. So what does that look like either for you, or how do you help guide people into taking this space? Sometimes I feel like it's like you actually have to like take it, cultivate it, put it on your account, like take the space to be present with whatever it is that's coming up. To the answer to the question of what else is possible. How do you cultivate that holding of space?
Yes. For me, the morning has been my number one non-negotiable. And it started, to a friend of ours, Carly Clark Zimmer. Thank you, Carly.
Yes.
And just a lovely invitation again of what's possible for the morning. And it was the first level of really starting to bring practical awareness in an important time of the day. For me, for other people, it's the middle of the day, or a different time of day. So the one thing for me is the morning. For others, I help them find, where is that space in your day where you're like, you know what, if I could have a little something here, a little moment to cultivate awareness and start to ask those important questions, just like you said, things might start to shift.
Mhm.
For me, I literally call it a meditation time in the morning. It's on the calendar.
I love that.
Yeah. And when I first did it, it was so funny. I was like, okay, I'm going to get up 15 minutes early. And that seems so like big time. And for
Yeah.
some people, like it's just to get up, open your eyes literally in the bed and just sit there for a few minutes. Like that's a big, sometimes first step. But for me, it was like 15 minutes. Okay. So setting it, and this is for someone at that time where getting up earlier was a struggle, like meant a lot because I was waking up like already tired in that kind of space. But soon I realized, okay, by the time I get up, put my contacts in, let the dog out for a sec, well, there's my 15 minutes. Like it's
Yes.
done. And so I thought, okay. So I had to back that up. And now I'm up to a full 45 minutes to an hour before anyone else in my house wakes up. And it's almost like this baby vacation that I get to go on every single day. But
Yeah.
it's in my own house. So I've created this space
Yeah.
for me to do whatever I want to do. Now I have
Yeah.
things that I like to do. And so anytime, it's not necessarily about the time, like how long, but it's about the intention behind it. And so when I have that, holding that space for me and allowing myself that non-negotiable time, my day is just very different. It's much easier to be present. It's much easier for me to deal with the inevitable chaos that's going to come, the change, the shift, somebody gets sick or an appointment
Right.
changes or whatever it may be. Friday here in North Carolina, it snowed for like an hour. Chaos.
Mass chaos.
In the South, we have no concept of what to do in this moment.
No, so.
Everyone's like, what's going to happen? But in that, you're like, I got to actually find the joy in that moment. And I totally attribute it to just having the ability, bringing the awareness to start my day in a certain way so that I can feel my way through and not panic my way through those moments.
Yeah.
And as the stress starts I'm in tune with that. I feel it. I recognize it. I kind of welcome it. I say, oh, hello, you are talking to me.
Right.
Yeah, so that for me it's a morning time. That's been the way that I've cultivated and really allowed myself time and space for awareness and to grow. I get to listen to people during that time or write or read, or just sit and have coffee, and it's amazing for me. That's been huge.
I love it. And I love that you call it a meditation. Like it's a meditation with me.
Yes.
And it's that step of making you non negotiable,
Yes.
which is,
Yeah, the body mind world, like that's one thing is to realize is like you are not an option.
mm-mm,
And when you truly tune into yourself, you realize that you've been asking for to not be an option for a long time.
yeah.
And that's both a scary and liberating moment because it's like, wow, okay. This has
I
been like
feel like
this
it's,
for a while.
yeah. And I feel like it's that moment of responsibility where we get to say, I'm looking for others I'm looking for the world to bring me peace. I'm looking for the world to bring me joy, happiness. I'm looking to the world to make me non negotiable when the entire time it's us choosing to become non negotiable and to cultivate that feeling of peace and joy and liberation in our life.
Yeah, absolutely. The cultivating for yourself to tap into that feeling of peacefulness, like you said, joy, whatever the desire is, whatever you're looking for, freedom, security, whatever the values are. um, Remembering what your values are is so important, and then going, okay, how can every day I have something going on that captures that sense of peace, freedom, whatever it may be, joy. And as you build those things in, a 5-minute dance party to cultivate joy, or, just closing your eyes and taking a breath before you walk into that meeting to cultivate peace. Like those things add up, just like we're taught, that all the movement that we do counts now. Like research shows us to be healthy, we need to move our body, and it all counts. The dance party, the walk to the mailbox, the squat while you're brushing your teeth, like it all counts. And
Yes.
so we to build, that's kind of the way, it's a muscle that you have to activate over and over and over again. And it's a practice, not a perfect, of honoring yourself. It becomes easier and easier. I will say that, like, it becomes easier and easier. And at the
Yeah.
same time, you get tested more and more. And
Right.
the
Yes.
difficulties don't go away, but
No.
your ability to navigate them does become more smooth. Yeah.
And that is something that is really powerful that I kind of want to touch on. And I'm
Yeah.
so glad that you brought that up is oftentimes we feel like, well, once I achieve X, I will have peace. Or even once I achieve peace, then all will be fine. And I really want to talk to how to lovingly call bullshit on that, you
Yeah.
know? Like how it's not about getting to the place of completion. It's not about getting to the place of paradise in order to experience, but it's actually the process of constantly cultivating how to navigate it with more ease. So, how do you kind of like, how have you experienced as you have leaned into trusting yourself, as you've leaned into this me practice, as you've leaned into cultivating this state that you want in your life, how it has helped you navigate the issues that are always going to be there? Like you're always going to have the ups and downs. How do you navigate them with more ease?
I think you kind of answered it, Cody. Like, it, just recognizing it's not going to go away. The fears, the doubts, the lack of self confidence, the questioning, that discomfort feeling. For me, I feel that in my gut, and that is also the same space where I feel, a heck of a lot of strength as well. So it's
Yeah.
often the places where we feel most powerful that we also kind of have our sense of struggle at the same time, in terms of tapping into your body place. That's something that's interesting to tune into, is like wherever you often feel, your
The most
strongest,
powerless.
is often also where you feel like, oh shit, I don't know about this. It's often
Right.
the same place. But I was on an interview with Philip Shepherd, and the most amazing thing, someone said, "Oh, tell us about your meditation practice." Philip Shepherd wrote a cool book, Radical Wholeness, and he has all kinds of offerings and
Absolutely
fabulous
amazing.
things. Yes. And someone's like, "Tell me about your meditation." And this is part of why I call it meditation, for me. And he goes, "Well, I find that I meditate while I'm in line at the grocery store,
Mm.
or when I'm stuck in traffic, or when I'm doing the things that we don't often say are like our jam,
Yeah.
you know? And it's almost like reclaiming kind of those parts of life that feel like the mess, the junk that we don't want to deal with. It's reclaiming all of it. Again, back to that initial question of what's possible right now. And how does this time get to be mine while also I'm, working through the car rider line and trying
I
not to
love
kill any children.
I l- yes, I love what you said. How can I make this moment be mine?
Yeah. Yeah. And so again, that awareness shift. And then know that every time you kind of feel like you've come over a hurdle or climbed up the next, goal or achievement or whatever it is, that is going to be the exact moment that all the shit shows up and all the gremlins show up, because they are lovingly, asking, are you sure? Is
Yes.
this okay? Because this looks scary. We don't know about this. You're heading down this path that we've never been down before.
Yep.
And so it's actually a beautiful sign. And so bringing awareness and starting to shift, that's the way that I have been supported and held space for, to be able to do, is to go, this sucks. I don't like this feeling. And I know it means I'm doing exactly what I'm supposed to. When
Yes.
you can hold, again, those things at the same time, and realize that because you have a hesitation, a doubt, a fear, it's not actually the signal to say, okay, I can't do this, whatever the this is, train for a 5K or start a business or, change something in your life. It's actually quite the opposite.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, we can't have those like initial, we just ended January, those initial feel good hormones of like kickstarting off and all your changes and resolutions and all that jazz. Like, if those endorphins that get kicked off when you make change and your body's like, yeah, that's awesome, we would go insane if those stayed
Mhm.
that high. So when we have that, that like hangover drop and motivation just feels like it's left us and abandoned us, it's actually your body changing. It's actually
Yeah,
because you've been doing the work. And so
right.
just bringing awareness to that and having support, having a coach, having someone, having a group that knows this stuff
Yes.
so that they can go, remember, and remind you, because you forget every time you
Yes.
up level. It comes back, but you get to navigate it with a sense of knowing and trust that you didn't necessarily have before.
Yes.
And every time, you can, hello old friend, we can kind of welcome it in a way, and you have more skills and tools and support and accountability to move yourself through it, rather
Yeah.
than, when I think 10 years ago, like if a gremlin showed up, it's like, okay, well, that's the end of everything.
Right.
Really dramatic, really like a fallout, um,
Right.
rather
But I
than,
hear it
yeah, what do
in
I know to be true? What do I remember and know to be true about me? Is I'm a badass and I can work through this.
yeah. What I hear is there's like that shift in before the fears, before the gremlins, before the struggles would keep us in the struggle. And now we use that struggle as the signal to say, ooh, I'm really pushing my boundaries. Like, ooh, I'm really growing. It's that signal that says we're on the right track. And that's a mindset shift to really go from I'm terrified to, oh, look, my terror is a signal for joy.
Absolutely. And to go to, like, oftentimes, we want to fight the thing that pops up, right? The gremlin, the fear. I'm like, no, I don't want you. Go away. And actually it's feeling into that and sharing about that and talking through and to those feelings and dropping it into your body and feeling where it's happening, because Brene Brown just came to mind. Like, shame and guilt and all of those gremlins love darkness and
Yes,
love secrecy. And so
yes,
whenever we can go, I see you, I don't like you, but I see you. So come on, right? Let's do this together.
right.
Rather than trying to shove it away, that does ease it, rather than fighting it and trying to ignore or push it away, but using it.
Yeah. Yes. And I feel that in every part of me. And I also want to call to what you had said, which was about having support. But like, I think in what you said also a little bit earlier, which is you really have to you have to curate your support. You have
Yeah.
to be very specific about your support because your support can't be what you've always been. It can't be somebody who is content to just be stuck in their fears and held back by them. It has to be somebody that is willing to call you out on your own fear, show your fear, push you beyond. So what has been your experience with support? How have you cultivated either a group of support around you or your own coach or those kinds of things?
Yeah. I invested time and resources into a coach. And that was a difficult and beautiful realization and kickstart for me, because when you are an independent woman and a leader and high achieving and generally kind of thrive or have thrived up until now on, like, I can do it. I mean, Wonder Woman is
Right.
like my go-to vision. But growing up, it was the Wonder Woman, like, rah, lassoing people and coming into battle and taking down the bad guys, that kind. But through my experience, realizing like actually there's a Wonder Woman part that is powerful in her stillness and powerful in her vulnerability. And that
Hmm.
really got illuminated through me by seeking support.
Yeah.
And it actually made me stronger, more powerful, more capable of stepping into my greatness and fulfilling my purpose in starting a small business at 40 years old. Like, that's not, something, I thought I was set and understood what I was doing. And slowly but surely getting really frustrated that that no longer was serving me.
Yeah.
And so it was being willing to be uncomfortable and ask for support and seek it out and find someone that was aligned with me. Because yeah, I am in body mind coaching now, but I was distrustful of it when I first started, and actually
Yeah.
kind of had to wiggle my way around to it. Um, but I was ready when I was ready. And so, yeah, finding the people and now being a part of groups just as simple as being a part of Facebook groups where people are having similar experiences and doing similar things and being coached and supported in a group of
Yeah.
like-minded individuals, yet all doing it in our own way, in our own places, quite literally across the world. So finding a group or finding a coaching group or finding a coach of some sort who really gets you and is a fit, I think is huge. As what you may feel like is like, I'm a grown ass woman and should be able to figure it out. And it's actually in the ability to let someone else support you in the figuring it out that you can
Yeah.
actually figure it out.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think sometimes, I say this like, I can't see my blind spots.
Right.
So I feel like a coach or a group or, that right person in my life helps me see my blind spots that I can't see. And so I love what you have to share about that. It helps us see how to connect with our truth, our body, our inner self, so that we can trust ourselves rather than operating on old brain pathways and old habits.
Yeah.
So for you, you know, I feel like your journey has been a shift from kind of like how the world wants you to show up, how the world tells you a successful leader should look like, act like, sound like, into what you feel from your being is how you are meant to show up. And that's trusting yourself. So, what would you give to women that maybe are ready to step into that level of trusting themselves and that level of leaning in to either, a coach or a program, or even just how do they begin that step of leaning in to trust themselves?
Yeah. I think the word that bubbled up for me was grace.
Such a powerful word.
Really inviting grace in and really realizing you are doing a ton. Like, it is not only understandable, but like you are in a world of other women who are also doing so much. And so to feel like it's not working just really takes a lot of grace to kind of surrender to that.
Mm,
And it's almost just like this deep exhale of relief when you just go, wow, I'm doing so much. No wonder it's not feeling good anymore.
yeah,
Like, thank you, body, inner truth source, for making me aware.
yeah,
And now from that place, you can go, okay, what do I want to do about it? And you can start to look around. It's a beautiful thing right now, the opportunities to connect with a group through coaching support. And there really is, whether you're trying to have more pleasure in your life or cultivating a business or just, you're a mom and you're doing other things and you want support in not feeling like you have to be Wonder Woman all the time. Like there
Right.
quite literally is potentially someone or a group out there for you to find that external support. And it's okay to seek
Yes.
that out. So I guess this is again back to our kind of our opening question is what's possible, getting curious
Yes.
about what might be different. And just like you said, Cody, the blind spots are there. You're really it's not that you can't do it on your own, because my goodness, you've gotten to where you are at this point
Right.
in life. It's just that you don't have to.
Yes.
And I think a really strong, powerful, independent woman, like kind of what helps them achieve that next level of growth is realizing, like, I could do it all and I will do it pretty darn well, but I choose not to anymore. And in
Right.
fact, I choose to do it a different way or let others support me. And that lights them up. And then that allows you to step into what you need to do, what you're the best at,
Right.
right? Letting
And
people support you in all those different ways.
what I also hear kind of in what you're saying, just in reflection, is you've already proven to yourself in the world you can do it by yourself.
Yeah.
So what else is possible?
Yeah. Like what else is possible when you allow others to support you?
Yes.
Where do you then get to go? Somewhere you just can't go by yourself.
No. Somewhere you
That's
probably couldn't even fathom or imagine to begin with.
absolutely. Yeah. I mean, just like, yeah, if you would have told me a year and a half ago, oh, you're going to have a new space and you're going to have other practitioners in there with you who are like following your lead, and you're going to have this business and you're going to be working with people across the country, and you're going to be supported by this beautiful group of body mind coaches, like it would have been like an alien talking to me,
Right.
because I
Exactly.
couldn't at that time, whenever it was, see what's possible. But when I surrendered and gave myself grace to, like, I can't figure it out and I don't even want to figure it out, just really feeling into that. And then you get to open up and just start to say what's possible. And as
Yeah.
soon as you find those aligned people, those aligned resources, you can't imagine
Yes.
what opens up to you. It's never exactly what you expect, and it's almost always 100% better than what you
Right.
could have dreamed of.
Yes, 100% better. I also really want to capture something that I hear you saying, and that is trusting yourself is about surrendering to the feeling.
Mm.
So, what is that for you, right? Trusting yourself is about surrendering to the feeling. What is the feeling in the body? Is the feeling kind of talk about that feeling a little bit so people kind of get an idea? Because if they're on that precipice, right, they've been doing all the things, but now they're having the grace, that moment of grace where they surrender into the feeling. What is
So when I surrender into what I'm feeling again, I just acknowledge that it exists.
that? I love that.
Um, and for us as body mind coaches, we actually even like to go and give that place wherever it's showing up. We find kind of by closing our eyes for a moment, and where is that in your body? Where are you feeling that? And that's often might be where you're having a physical sensation along with it, or it might not.
Yeah.
Again, awareness, bringing awareness. Where does that feel? Wow, my chest, I just feel this tightness in my chest. I have a client that is her signal. And then giving that place a voice. What do I need to hear? What do you need to tell me right now? All of that just slowing down and turning inward allows you to really experience your feelings
Yeah.
rather than compartmentalizing them or shove it down,
Or
as we like
yes.
to say. And it's no wonder women, like, we're bloated and we have all these digestion and all of that.
Issues.
part of our body that's like our most powerful part of our body, and our abdomen and our hips and pelvis and all of that. So really, I mean, quite, it feels like an inward eye, that you just
Mm,
scan and become more in tune with, and just practicing that scan.
yeah.
And again, usually, whatever the sensation is, if we've labeled it as a negative sensation, feeling it, allowing yourself to actually experience it tends to make it feel less, whatever it is,
Yeah.
right? Um, and same, when you really allow yourself to experience what you might label as a more positive emotion, it usually expands.
Hmm.
And so playing with that and realizing like that thing you're feeling, you can choose what happens next. You can choose to really let it grow and fester and make it
Yeah.
be the dictator of your day. And you can also choose to listen, tune in, hear what it has to say, and then make a different choice
Yeah.
from that. And for me personally, like I grew up with this weird back and forth of like feelings are weakness and
Hmm.
also something you should express, as you see fit. Like, don't be ashamed. And so those polar kind of opposites
Yeah.
um, were something that really, not until allowing myself to actually experience the sensation, the feeling, whatever it is, have I been able to then make a choice to go with it. Like, yep, it's not what I want to be doing today. And so, Jamie's couch, here we go. But I'm coming
Yes.
from it's different when you're coming from that place of, I see this and I recognize that this is what my body needs right now, my soul needs right now, versus not dealing with the feeling and yet just succumbing to it and letting that mean you go and crash.
Right.
There's a difference. Vice versa, pushing through something
Right.
when you really need to make a different choice.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think experiencing the feeling. What is the feeling? Can you name it? Can you see it? Does it have a feel? Is it living somewhere in your body? If you gave it a voice, what would it say? What would it want you to hear and know?
Yeah.
And then what do you want to do? How do you want to feel?
Yeah. Absolutely. I love that. And I also love like, it kind of reminds me of like a little kid. If you had like a little 4 or 5 year old and they were scared or
Mm,
they were hurting or they had something going on, you wouldn't shove them in the closet.
right.
You
Yeah. You
would sit down
walk
like
them
on the
through it.
bed and listen to them. Like, okay, what's going on, you know?
Yeah. It doesn't, and the more you practice it, it's not this big like, okay, how am I feeling? It's just a part of being in tune and learning to trust that what you are feeling is legitimate and it doesn't have to dictate everything.
Right. It doesn't have to become the action.
Yes.
So I know you have a great way that you love to support women, fierce women, and high achievers. So do you want to share with us a little bit about your group and all the things that you do? And I think you have something special you want to give to everybody.
Yeah. So I have a group on Facebook, Fundamentals of Self Care. And the goal in that group is just to really give ourselves space and permission to be nurtured and to experience what it's like to turn that eye inward and start to trust what we're feeling in order to then take care of ourselves as a method of self-care. And
And
I'm
it's
in there every
awesome.
Monday, and we do the meditation. You get to come and do it with me, really easy peasy, and just show up. And there's
And
other
I'm gonna do a shameless plug for her. I am in the group. I do love it. I absolutely enjoy her little meditations on Monday, and sometimes they help me realign with, oh yeah, I need to do that thing that like is putting me first. Right, right, right.
Yeah, and I love it's on Monday. So I call it the Monday moment because it's just this opportunity, start of the week, start of the day. And so anybody can come and join that Fundamentals of Self Care. Just do a search, Fundamentals of Self Care. You'll be able to find it.
And I
And
will put it in the show notes
awesome.
below. So if anybody wants to find, you'll get a link below.
Awesome. And then also on Instagram at Shayna_supports_you.
Okay.
And then one way to kind of just get to know a little bit more about sort of how to start to tackle these things as a high achieving woman. I have an awesome webinar that I'd love for you to experience. And you can do that by going to shaynahartman.com/fierce. And
Ooh,
it's
yes,
my 3 steps that my amazing high achieving clients use to start to kind of create more space in their life without adding more to their to-do list because
I love
we
it.
have time to add more.
We got enough. Ain't nobody got time for more.
That's right. Yes.
But yes, I love it. I will make sure that I also put that in the show notes, so that everybody can get that link to it because I know that it is fantastic.
Thank
So
you.
thank you so much, Shayna, for being here. You have been such a blessing, and I hope you've gotten something great from today.
Absolutely. Cody is amazing. Please keep listening to her and
Oh,
subscribe. Ever since I met Cody, I felt a very strong connection to you and just your spirit and your light and this beautiful legacy that you're leaving and
thank
helping
you.
others leave for themselves. So thank you.
Yay. Thank you. Yes, I feel the same way, my dear. Same way. So, well, thank you so much, and I will look forward to hopefully everyone will look forward to seeing you very soon, either in the Facebook group or on your webinar. And I hope you have a great day.
Thank you.